pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, all. Is our middle mic on? Okay. All right, we'll open the meeting, and, is there anything to add or subtract from the agenda?
No.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Approve the motion to...
Second.
In a second, to approve the agenda as printed. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. The minutes?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes from the 18th. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Claims?
I looked over the claims, it was $688,161.93.
That's what I got.
Excuse me, any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. General public concerns? Being none? Ben?
Morning.
Morning.
Just a couple items on the agenda for today. The first is to approve a quote from Blacktop Service for track cleaning for the 2022 season. I sent you guys a list of recent pricing. For crack filling services, it's up a dime from what they did last year. And that was actually a quote that they gave us in 2020 that got drug into 2021.
So that ain't too bad of an
It hasn't
increase.
gone up too much in 2 years.
We can do it for an increase of a dime.
Well, that'd be the least inflationary thing we've seen for some time.
Yeah.
When are they gonna do this?
They're thinking this spring still.
So it'd actually be in this fiscal
So
year?
if we get spring...
Well, maybe.
Yeah, that 2 weeks that we'll get where they wanna call it spring or summer officially.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
$265 a less.
$265 a pound for the rubber, for the mastic.
Well, I would make the motion that, yeah, that sounds like a fair deal. So I'd make the motion to approve the crack filling from Blacktop Service for $265 a pound. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Ben, do you have a certain areas?
It's gonna be West Abode on C-18, Lake Church Road, and the Champlin Blacktop, predominantly those three. They're gonna look at, C-20 North Abode, that we just put an 1.5-inch overlay on. They're starting to see some reflective cracking coming through that. They don't know if those are opened up and exposed enough.
To warrant it, yeah.
Was this what you mentioned as far as crack filling, where you touch base with the towns that roads go through? Or is that...
That's for striping.
Yeah, you said striping, will you do the same on the crack fillings?
I can. Typically, we've crack filled, the main roads that run through
Right.
town.
Would this have anything to do with, though, their, say, a small town's streets, where they may want them to do some work for the town as an area, or is that a different protocol?
I guess I've never reached out to towns. Like I said, we do the main...
You'll take care of the main road.
Through town. Most cities don't crack fill their side streets.
Okay.
Chip seal, or a sand seal on
Okay.
the side streets.
But I didn't know if, in the past I've heard where, and maybe it isn't the crack filling, but it's when they're in the area doing the repair work. They may want something
Yeah,
done.
the cities can save their mobilization costs.
I would just tell them, especially over here on the Champlin Blacktop, you might let them know what day they're gonna do it, 'cause...
Not this channel, I'm sorry.
That one?
This one down
Okay.
here.
I was gonna say, that one could be a nightmare trying to
That
get...
one we already did. We
Okay.
did that, last season or the season before.
Old people coming to work on that short, they'll have them backed up on the highway if you're doing that.
No, I'm sorry,
No.
this is from
C-46.
169 west, yeah.
Alright.
So just a thought on the possibility if there was any other smaller towns that wanna, you know, while they're there, they'd have to take it upon themselves for
Yeah,
their
the
side
only one
streets.
that I'm even close to would be Bode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, never hurts to make it, they all, but if, at least they know.
Yep, okay.
Other than that, I think we're in good shape.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Did we vote?
Nope, that was a discussion.
Okay. I fell asleep. I'm
That's all
sorry.
right.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll strike the sleeping, I was teasing. Matt.
No, I think you should put that
I
in
don't want you to
there.
go on the radio and say, Reimers fell asleep in the meeting.
Yeah, breaking news, a couple of Robert's fallen asleep.
You've got the natural radio voice, I do have to tell you
I
that.
appreciate it.
All right, Ben.
The only other, thing that I put on there, you and I talked, last week about these large format printers that we discussed about using ARP money. The auditor's office has some large files that need to be scanned as well as our department. I'm not sure what other offices would be able to take advantage of something like that. I did reach out to a couple of different companies for quotes a while back. I did reach out to who was the lowest quote last time and asked them to update their pricing. They said that the pricing had not changed. On-
Really unusual.
On the large printer, they would still do the printer for, I wanna say it was like $7,700.
Looks like it.
Just ink cartridges is quadrupled is all.
Yeah.
$7,750 for the cost of the copier, and, the maintenance ends up being close to $500 a year.
So, we're renting this, or we're purchasing it?
You purchase, but then, no matter what you do for the printers, typically...
still have
it's a
maintenance.
Agreement,
Mhm.
so,
So what was the purchase price again?
Right here.
$7,750.
You got it.
I am getting together with Marco
Okay.
on the 29th to discuss making sure that our equipment is in groups instead of individual,
Offices?
yes, so
Good.
that we'll give you better pricing.
Okay.
I don't know if you want,
You can get a quote from him. I did last time. I didn't reach out to him for an updated quote, just because he was like $3,000 higher.
Our, the only reason I'm moving this over so your timid little voice doesn't... I said, when he had his roof out there, we've been chasing or kicking this around forever about if something happens out there and we don't have any of them plans backed up or
Mm-hmm,
copied.
mm-hmm.
And when we had our leaks out there, I said, maybe that's something telling us that we should move our budget forward. So, I was the one that put it back in Ben's ear, and he said, his quote was, let me see if I can remember how he said it. Yeah, let me call that person back, so they call me every 2 days wanting to know.
Well, at least,
I mean, they're persistent once you...
well, there you go.
reach out.
Well-
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's good.
And I guess I'm kinda nervous that we have issues, or we have plans that, I don't know where we go if something happened to that room.
Right.
Well,
Do we have that money as a
Yeah.
something we use out of the
is
ARPA?
it, Sandy?
Yeah,
I think
it's
then-
something, 'cause
Well-
you're digitizing. So
That's right.
anything that you can do to digitize anything, and that we can make an access then on our
Right.
website so that people can actually...
They don't have to go physically looking at stuff.
Correct.
Yep,
Yep.
so it does qualify
It does
for,
qualify.
I see no reason, given everything that we know and we've talked about, why we just don't go ahead and get this done.
So, if
I
she's
would
ready,
say if she's meeting with Marco
Marco.
on the 29th, we wait until after
Yep.
Marco
Yeah, like-
had a chance to touch base with her.
And Trish.
Their price.
That's a good idea, too, to
Mhm.
get everything grouped together that is under the Marco.
Because we have so many...
You get so many maintenance.
Well, and our main copier is Marco as well.
There you go.
That'd make more sense.
So, yeah, it would be nice if they would give you a better
Oh,
deal.
it's quite a bit.
Well-
I think,
that way we have it on the 29th, we can talk about the
Yeah.
first part of
yep,
next month and
Mhm.
move forward with it and try to get something in the next day.
So we don't forget about it.
Right.
Not get it done.
I feel we've had
And that'll give us
this,
time too, if we wanna hire somebody for seasonal this summer to get going on that too.
Yeah.
All right.
that's a great idea.
How's your text and your message the other night, that you wanna give them an update on
We
the little
got,
weather damage?
so law enforcement called Saturday night, I met Mike Carpenter up at the shed, we grabbed a couple of barricades and closed Roosevelt Avenue between 230th and 240th. Ed Smith had a horse lean-to, more or less, out there, right there by the dredge ditch.
Yeah, it kinda sat out there all by itself.
Sat out there by itself, and now there's a couple of posts sticking up out of the ground, it's
Yeah,
about
took
it
the roof.
left.
Wow.
It sounds like it also got, Doug Sandman's, cattle yard, which is a similar setup on a much larger scale, as far as the building.
Some of those pictures were a mess,
Yeah.
and they had cattle in there, and so they've been trying, I don't know, I haven't heard, they've been trying to get them moved, and
Did he lose any cattle?
Blowing that hard out the...
Never said. No, but there's
Did
he lose any cattle?
I don't know, all I just saw some
Those
posts,
cow calves,
which
that Doug went to,
Michelle
and
had put on there.
To the south, there's quite a few properties that have damage.
Shingles, missing.
Reed Carroll has, the acreage just to the south of this, I think his two outbuildings have completely blown out. Walls, lower sections of the tin buildings. I'm sure we'll hear more reports of damage trickling in as the week goes on.
Well, I guess the other thing on that was, if people in them weather situations, they have more eyes and ears that they can see and let law enforcement or whoever know, because they aren't everywhere, to call, and so we can try to get roads closed and whatnot. So we do appreciate you guys doing that. And I talked to Dean yesterday as well, so Sheriff's Department was involved in that also, so.
Yeah, they were the ones that contacted us.
Right. So anyway, I guess we hopefully get things put back together for them, and thankful no one was injured, so. Anything else?
About it.
All right.
Got any good stories you can tell us? We got a while.
Well, we have a 9:30 meeting, or appointment.
Yeah.
Well,
Can you do the drainage stuff?
Drainage can get lengthy, we can,
we'll try to drag it on. I got some good stuff in drainage for all.
we got some beavers we can talk about.
Yeah, I could, well, now we're on camera, I can't tell my joke I was gonna tell earlier. I think it would be inappropriate. It's not really dirty, but, yeah, I could talk about some beavers and a couple other things.
I guess one last thing, Sue's last day is tomorrow. I guess I'd like to recognize her for her 28 years.
why didn't you drag her up here?
I tried. I said, "Do you wanna come up and be recognized?" No.
It's not as gregarious as you are, Ben.
Yeah, it's just not her style.
I know.
Well, you should have recognized her for many years, every day. Thank you, thank you, thank you,
And
so.
it's also, administrative assistant week or whatever. so-
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, give her a message that we all appreciate all that she has done. She's been the, what would you call her, the front for that place
Yeah,
for a long time. She's
she,
taken heat from a lot of people.
Takes a beating before anybody gets back to
She fields a lot of
our
calls,
office, so.
and usually is the person that deflects a lot, or sometimes gets tired of it and just
Does
tells
a good
them.
job biting her
So,
tongue, so.
well, we appreciate her very much.
Thank you for all those years of it doing that,
Yep.
and best of luck.
Yes.
Yep,
She'll enjoy retirement.
She will.
yeah.
Well, that's what they always say, but
And then, I think most of you have met Kim. If you haven't, I welcome you guys to come out to the office and introduce yourselves.
All right.
She's
Well, you said-
settled in pretty good out there, hasn't
She
she?
seems to be, yep. So,
Tomorrow's your last day?
Sue's last day is tomorrow, yep.
Then I will say this publicly, I suggest that you go home this evening and bake a cake. And bring that into work with you tomorrow.
I don't think she wants to.
Well, maybe you could purchase a cake, Ben, to be on the safe side.
Yep, so, all right.
All right, thank you. Ben. All right, we have, do you wanna do the Veterans Affairs stuff, or do you wanna jump into the drainage? We aren't meeting with Webster County, are we?
No, they've already done theirs.
Okay, well, we can just start, jump into drainage then.
Sure, I'll make a motion to go into drainage.
Okay,
Second.
motion and a second to go into drainage, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Pose same sign, we are in drainage at 848. All right, we have some,
Crystal has sent over her proposed levy for the joint district. Their control, and it's R5, 102, and 7, 247. And the attached amounts are listed. And then a waiver for 10 years on 7, 247.
just clarification, is this any of that over there by Pioneer?
Nope, it is not.
Okay.
That is 3 and 9, I believe.
All right. Any questions?
So, when you said, which one, Trish, the, 247.7? What, that,
Yes,
10 years, so does that mean,
means
because,
a payment over $500 on a parcel that they could,
They can ask, they can spread it over
so
10
they
years. if
did
they'd
wanna
like.
spread it over 10
It
years?
gives them the option if they want to, they don't have
That's
to.
in Humboldt County, 'cause these figures are for Humboldt County, correct?
This is the total,
This is the total?
the total, that was the
it's supposed to
total,
amount the,
that's the total amount.
It's a which is,
Total levy.
which is Humboldt, right?
on the very right side.
Yeah. The majority of them are Webster.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But since we're joint district, we have to,
Where's the one that, where have we been to break down of Humboldt?
on the very right side.
That's what I said,
This is
It'll have,
Humboldt.
that's what I'm asking.
Oh,
That's what I'm asking.
This is the total.
No, not the total, but, so on the very right-hand side, that's the Humboldt County portion
yes,
Of the total.
of the,
Right.
yes.
Mhm.
the top one is, what, Webster, that's $3,450.03. And ours is $310.87 levied to the Humboldt County parcels. And then down below, the 247 and 7, levy for $13,177.97. And we will levy for the $2,373.22. And that's the one for the 10-year waiver payments.
So that, I guess my question, going back to 10 years, does that mean that the portion in Humboldt County is being stretched out over 10
This
years?
I don't know,
amount,
but it has to be if she levies it and waives it, we have to also have waiver payments.
Really?
Since it's a joint.
Yeah.
That would make
It's joint.
sense, it's a joint. If it's
The
joint,
question is if
I mean, not
the,
everybody,
we'll do it.
they have to be,
they have the option to.
if they're over.
Okay, so I was gonna say, for that amount, and I don't know how many landowners that encompasses in Humboldt County, even if it was one, they may say, I'm not gonna stretch $2,300 over 10 years.
well,
Right. They could.
They
can-
could.
They can choose if they want to.
It just gives you, it's the option.
Right, it's an
Okay.
option.
Okay,
Mhm.
so it's just saying that it's because of the amount, they give the folks in the district the opportunity.
And that's by code.
Doesn't mean that they're automatic.
Used to be $100.
Okay,
Oh, really?
okay, I just wanted to make sure, 'cause
Mhm.
you wouldn't stretch $2,000 over 10 years, I don't think.
no.
Mhm. Long time.
Just wanted to get my mind around it. They weren't forcing them to do that, it's just an option to do that.
Right.
Yes, it's not forced.
It's just like all of our, they can choose to pay it all at one time, or they can choose to put it out, however many years it's been put out, correct?
Mhm.
That's the way I understood it.
With interest.
Yep, yeah, with it,
Yep.
6%.
Mhm.
So can I ask something without getting in trouble with the last 247 and Humboldt 7?
Mhm.
They have 150,000 in Webster County and Humboldt County is 0?
Their total is actually $932.45.
Right, but we don't,
We won't pay on it because
it must be a real small
it
sliver.
must have been in,
So the lateral one, and it's probably all in Webster County.
Yeah, evidently.
Well, that's what I wondered, but I just didn't know, I thought they all had to pay a share of the...
No, because
Sometimes they break the laterals out,
sectioned off.
you know, like we have subs of this and that.
Right. All right, well, that's what I was wondering, but I thought I'd ask rather than wonder.
Assume.
Yep, that's right. Well, that's why I asked too, so yeah, that makes, and basically you're just looking for approval of these back to Webster County?
yes.
So we can get
And
back to
then
them.
we will levy these appropriately this year.
Okay, well, I think everything looks to be in order. I think we've asked some really good questions, so I would make a motion to approve the joint drainage district levies, listed with the Webster Humboldt County joint districts.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to accept the approved levies for Webster County and Humboldt County, the three different, districts. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. You said you had something...
Yeah, well, we're in drainage.
Oh, my gosh.
I took notes. This is just along the lines of what we've been discussing, and we don't have to go into huge detail today, but I know we've decided that within the next, 2 months, we will be taking a very hard look at, levying for September. And we have some information on that, and I said this doesn't need to be a lengthy discussion, but this all started with the conversation with contractors Rick and Travis Peterson, as far as where they were at and how they were doing and the projects. So, and then I took it from there, and this is not inclusive, but this is some of the bigger ones. For instance, DD 10, job has been completed for some time.
Not quite. They had a couple pipes to finish, and then they'd finished up the lower end of the trees just
Yep.
about 2 weeks ago.
But there was a completion hearing on that project some
Yes,
time ago.
the tree work was
That was a work order.
work order,
Work
yeah.
order.
But, being they did it, and being I asked them,
Mhm.
that entire district is complete,
Yep,
and has been, and the trees even, so.
yeah, it's
That,
done.
so example of DD 10 needs to be, has to be levied.
Okay.
DD 6 is, down to basically the pipes. It's not, some of the balance of the
Yeah,
pipes.
they're fixing a little sloughing right now on the pipes.
Yep, so
Then that should be done.
downhill slide. This is to the best of their ability, and I said, we would need to have these final bills turned in, would we determine July? To make everything work process for the September levy?
Or would June be better?
June would be awesome,
Well, end of June, 1st of July, I'm not saying end of July, but
yeah.
I said, we were talking like first, 4th of July timeframe.
Yeah.
Well, just tell them
They would do their darndest at that 4th of July, 1st of July timeframe to entirely complete DD 6 work. And, give their full attention to wrapping that up, so then that project would be complete. DD 18 is a huge project. That will not be completed, obviously, by June. There's a lot of pipe, and it's very lengthy. The digging is done, but the pipe is not. It started on the pipe, but it will take some time. That is a huge project, a lot of dollars. We can talk about this more in depth when we take a look at where all these amounts are. It's percentage-wise, it's probably all of 80%, we're talking the dollars of the project, 80% is been paid, is sitting on the books, give or take. There's not an exact figure. That needs to be levied, I believe, in September. The percentage that's sitting on the books right now, because it's a huge amount. There again, on DD 18, as far as finishing, weather permitting, along with a couple other things, very realistic possibility by the end of this calendar year that it would be completed.
Which one was that?
DD 18.
18, yeah, it should be.
So, we can have the discussion when we have it.
Well, why wouldn't we just throw an extra 20% on the levy so we have the money to pay it?
We could probably get a real accurate, because they are down to pipe.
Yeah.
They know what the pipes cost, they know
How many there is,
approximately,
Wouldn't that be a
could do that.
easier way to do it?
Have them
And that way,
levy twice.
so you don't have to carry them
And that's-
for 6 months?
yeah.
Yep, but that's a fair idea.
By then, they ought to know what it's taking them per pipe and figure out.
They could get a close estimate.
Yep, and put on,
You know what?
yep, they could.
Completed? Can you do that before
There'd be, the money would be in there, paid,
Yeah, you wouldn't pay them, but you would levy for them.
and it would be sitting in there.
Okay.
Yep, I think that's fair, and
Yeah.
I'm sure, as good as those guys are, they could
Because
provide
we're
us.
allowed to keep a positive balance in the drainage district accounts.
So that's something we can take a look at, and I know as good as those guys are, they would get us as close of a
Yeah, they-
dollar figure on
Mhm.
the balance. So that's something to think about, but there's a huge amount of money sitting there, waiting to be levied.
Yeah.
Um,
And 6% used to be a high number, and now all of a sudden it might be pretty cheap in a few months.
right. The other, along the lines of pipe repair, probably particularly DD 18, because that's where there's a lot to do yet. That's what, they aren't done. The districts have approximate 30-foot levees on top of the ditches. Is that about right?
Easement.
Easements, excuse me, easements on top of the ditches, not levees. So we discussed the fact that these pipes need to be repaired and replaced. There should be no reason that they aren't allowed to go along the easement any time of year to get out there to fix the pipes.
Except for the nesting bird season.
Well, if it's this would then be more so crop
Okay,
than
yeah.
CRP and filter strips.
Mm-hmm.
Those are easier to work with, so they can avoid the nesting bird season. But, the contractors will tell us that a lot of things that they do, i.e. pipe repair, if you're not gonna run over any crop, and you have farmers farming up to and if almost into some of the top of the ditch, and don't drive over the couple rows to get out to fix the pipe, then what does that mean? You're trying to do this in the fall or early spring.
Yeah, and your window's short.
Very short, because it's all weather permitting, and it's just, even with the best weather, it still condenses your window.
And you're wanting to go do a tiling job that they probably got
Yeah.
stretched already.
Yeah, that's usually tiling season once the crop's out.
Right, and even though, not to pick on Peterson's, because they do a wonderful job of this repair, and they don't tile, but it still condenses any contractor's time frame. So they questioned to us that, they said, we can get a lot more things done over the summer, where we can just go out and fix these pipes. The easement is there, that's a drainage district easement, and if a couple rows of crop get driven down, they're going out to benefit that landowner in that district to fix the pipe. And obviously, it's probably on the field that they're driving over the crop in,
Yeah.
to get to it, to fix it. They said that would be huge. They have not, as a rule, been doing that, and it's really condensed their window.
And that's why these pipes don't get fixed.
Yep,
Besides, Rick and Travis are both farmers,
yep,
so they are gonna do whatever they can to not run over
yes,
a
yep.
huge amount of...
No, and it's usually, you never know where the pipes are located, you never know how the fields are set up, but it's generally very minimal. And if they said that would speed this along immensely. So, the easement is in place, they would like from the trustees, us, you know, reassurance that, yes, they can go out, because you're gonna say, why is a guy out there running over my crop? That's an easement. That's, you're actually farming in the drainage district easement. And we just have never enforced to stay back, they say the 30 feet. And it would be beneficial to all of these ditches, maybe not all of 30 feet, but 3 to 10 wouldn't hurt, to maintain a grass strip along the top for, the, you know, stability of the top of that ditch. So, anyway, that would speed up everything for them to be able to go out and continue along with their pipe, and it's not just Peterson's, it's any contractor that has the, it's just that we had to talk, because they had a couple of these projects, and we talked about getting the levees done, so that was my conversation on drainage.
Typically, in the summer, the water levels are low, so it's a good time to fix pipes.
Yep.
You're not fighting high water and
Yep.
muddy conditions
And a lot of the, we've all heard it, we've seen it, I know Sandy and I even looked at a huge one a couple of years ago. Some of these pipe repairs are more expedient than others, that they need to get replaced because they're starting to wash the bank out.
Yep.
So the quicker you get them repaired, replaced, the less damage, the less expense, the less time.
Yeah.
So,
It's dirt that gets in the ditch.
yep, and then,
Big thing.
yep, it's a win-win, speeds things up, gets this leveling process, so that was just kind of an update,
And if they come in and get a work order to do the job, we're the ones who approve the work order, so the farmer who he complains to, it's gonna be us.
Yep,
Right.
yep, and they can come in, and, I mean, that would be the reasoning, there's an easement, there always has been since they built the ditch, for maintenance of the ditch,
Right.
so, but I just wanted to, you know, bring that up now, 'cause we just visited about it, and I kinda looked into it, and then I still say, within the next month or so, we have this hard look at what's on the books for levies, and
Yeah.
help everybody out with that to get them done. So, that's my drainage thing. I guess no beaver stories, other than there has been a couple dams torn out, but haven't heard too much on beavers, haven't got any pictures.
Well, first we've had rain, so we might have some beavers be able to swim.
Oh, they're about, but some of the guys have, you know, they have torn out a few dams, and the beavers haven't been there, so, like you said, Bruce, maybe if the water level goes up, the beavers will come back, but, so that's food for thought.
All right, well, appreciate that.
Yep, thank you, everybody.
I guess while we're in drainage, we had a brief visit with Jared Hatcher on some things, and we're gonna talk, to the city about that issue up by his property, so.
And that was, 'cause I don't know Jared Hatcher, that was Jared Hatcher?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's, Bruce has been looked
Yeah.
at, Dave knows a lot of knowledge about it.
I've seen the pictures you've taken.
Water dumps into a pipe up there, and we don't know if that's going right into the 13 main, or if it's going into the city's storm system, or my guess is probably going into 13 main.
Yeah. And he just has called a couple of times, or we visited, and he asked if, what, Wednesday we were up there, I looked at it at a ministerial meeting, I drove by.
I looked at it on
Just a nice
Thursday.
Light rain, thing was like this wide, just barely trickling down the hill. Saturday, after that rain, my wife and I were going to get something to eat, we drove by there, and Sue looks at it, and she goes, "Oh my God, it looks like a river coming." I mean, it was 30 foot wide,
No, the pictures, I guess he showed you and I, there was a lot of water moving through there.
so,
And how, you know, and it's starting to cut ruts,
yeah.
you know, it's already cut a rut 6-8 inches deep, and all that dirt's going right into that main.
He said a couple of places, you know, he's got his different trailers up there, and you can't park them up there because the water's coming so fast, but, so, anyway, we'll touch base with the city and try to get something worked out for them, so.
Would you want me to check with, like Rick Hopper on his recollection of what went on up there? 'Cause I think Mer was the engineering company possibly that the
Work
city
with the
used.
city.
But Rick, we had an improvement before
I'm
I
curious to know where
changed it
that
on
comes
13.
from the west, across over there, and how that hooks in, or if that comes across the backside of that church, or if there's a buried, I know it has to be buried up there, 'cause it hooks in there on the east or west side of the street, where they put that tile. So does that come over towards that field, and then dumps down?
I know, I've seen it.
I guess we'll just have to...
I'd like to see the city's information.
Okay, I'll wait for Gloria then.
They have to have record of their drainage.
Yeah,
Well, they do, I'm
see
assuming.
some of their storm sewer maps.
Mhm.
'Cause they did that work on the streets up there, and they
Mhm.
got their storm drains. Do
Mhm.
they hook into the main, 13 main, or
But they
where
would...
do they go?
It'd be like, well, for instance, you know, we have the drainage district stuff and the main tile, the farmer would have record if his tile hooks into the district main.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have record of where any of their
I'm assuming it
storm
does.
sewers hook into, if that's the case.
All right, if there's nothing else in drainage,
Motion to go out of
I
drainage.
would take that motion.
Second.
In a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Alright,
Right.
Opposed, same sign. We are out at 9:08. All right, you have the quarterly report from the veterans. Is there anything, Dave, that you wanna chime in on?
In February, we had a funeral to pay for. That's the biggest amount of it. That show up here, Dave? Yeah, in fact, there's two funerals, one at Gunderson and one at Bruce's. Two funerals last quarter. Other than that, it's... Like it's pretty much the utilities. Make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the veterans' quarterly report ending March 31st. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, getting towards the committee reports.
Okay, on the 19th, Tuesday, I had, a meeting with, Kitty Cat Daycare, a board meeting. On the 21st, I met with Alyssa regarding our homeless housing trust. That's going to be going away at the end of the year. We're kind of working over a couple of different options on which way we could go, and it just kind of depends upon what, we're gonna have a meeting with the other county supervisors that are on that and see which way we wanna go. And then, once we kind of get that figured out,
oh, okay.
get with everybody. That is all that I have. Yeah.
That's why you
The 22nd was her.
Okay.
While you were writing, you could write it in the book.
What was it that you had, what about?
The 21st,
Okay,
Thursday the 21st.
okay, got it.
19th, we had a at-site Board of Adjustment meeting, out to the landfill. He brought us a map that showed where the cells were and where they closed and all that stuff. Wednesday, had a Humboldt Housing Development Corporation meeting. And I didn't make it over to the conservation meeting. I was gonna go, and I talked to Todd, and he said, wasn't much update from what he gave us last week. Then Friday morning, I had the Board of Health meeting. I talked to Nate a little bit, since he lost his boss over there. The Board of Health person in Pocahontas County is gonna take care of, oversee him, and, I talked to him a little bit about his reporting and how he reports it.
gave him a copy of Randy's, says this is what we want, you know, not just 8 wells plugged or looked at septic tanks, we want an address, we want a report on it. You know,
Yeah, I went to this address on this date, and
Yeah.
did this.
and, his report's floating around here someplace. But anyway, that was Friday morning, that's all I had.
I didn't have any official meetings, and I gave you the information on the drainage that, initiated with the conversation with Rick and Travis, so that was what I did past week.
Okay, Tuesday evening, I had the regional landfill meeting down in Fort Dodge, and, I think I mentioned something earlier, we've been fighting this, I call it a landslide type thing. They call it a landslide, it's moving like a half inch a year.
Pretty slow landslide.
Pretty slow landslide, but the DNR's doesn't like the fact that it's moving down the hill into a creek. So, that, the DNR gave us another year to push that back due to all the, construction costs have gotten high. So, and plus we're looking at another, possibly different options to stabilize it rather than, and then every time they talk about it, the price just keeps going up and up. It's
I have a
insane.
probably a stupid question. I mean, this thing is sliding down a hill to the bottom of a
Ravine.
ravine that is a quarry. It isn't like it's sliding down and the town is underneath it and...
Well, it's sliding down into a creek bed,
Ah,
is what it's
So
sliding.
how was this thing being held up before? Was there like...
Well, that's the problem. From what I understand from what the engineers tell us, it's the ground underneath the garbage. The garbage isn't actually sliding, it's the ground underneath that they put the garbage on top of, is sliding on top of the rock, or the shale, they say is sliding down the hill. And, you know, it's moved like 3 feet in 30 years or so, but it's moving. And they want it stabilized, and it, you know, they started off at $2 million, now they're at 3-point-some million. Every time you talk to it, the price just goes up.
yikes.
You know, I said, why don't we just put that crick inside a pipe and not worry about it, but we can't do that, I guess, 'cause it's fairly large.
And this is the DNR that's having concern?
Yeah,
The DNR.
the DNR's having concerns about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're looking for a new CEO. We had some applicants, quite a few, 9, I think, that they interviewed. They're gonna narrow it down to 2 or 3 and bring them to the board for in-person interviews with the board.
In area or out, I mean...
I think they had 5, what they call drivable distance. Had one from Dubai,
That'd be a
applied.
change of weather.
Yeah.
Dubai to Fort Dodge, Iowa?
Yeah.
He must really wanna, or they must really wanna change his life.
Yeah, he's been there about a couple of years.
Huh.
And then on Wednesday, I had the Humboldt County Housing. Something new that's kinda, we're working on with some of the smaller communities in the county, helping them with some of their ideas for housing. Help them with their paperwork, basically, managing the funds. You know, setting up an account, being as we're already doing that, we just add another account with their title to it, so they have so we can manage it for them, 'cause we've been doing it for 20-some years.
Good idea.
And why double, yeah. So, plus got a lot of information to help them, guide them in different directions.
Mhm.
So they're getting aggressive, looking to create more housing in their communities, 'cause they say, you know, every year or so, they tear one down or burn one down, they're losing their tax base and losing their people, so they're trying to be
And
creative.
they're fighting for every house they can keep in order to
Yep.
keep X amount of people
Keep
in
the
town.
community alive, and they're very
Understand.
passionate about it, and that's good. So, that's about all I got.
All right, the 19th, we had our UDMO financial meeting with Zoom. Then on the 20th, I had my ministerial meeting at noon, and I did go to that in person here, at 12, and then at 1 o'clock, we had that federal audit for UDMO, which I was more nervous than the two ladies that did the audit. I mean, it basically, just like they told us, they talk about how the money is, they take federal funds and put it into UDMO's, programs, and how do we make sure that everything, well, we have a track, the financials are kept, and so they were really, made it pretty easy for all of us, people that were nervous about.
Whenever you hear audit, you're like,
yeah, you hear audit, you think, oh my God, well,
yeah.
they were very good, so, but I would tell you from the ministerial meeting, and, they had, what's his name, the superintendent from the high school, or for the schools.
Oh, Jim.
Jim was there, Murray, and, you know, it's kind of sad to think that, we have a food pantry at the high school, because we have kids that aren't eating.
Mhm.
And not only at the high school, but we have kids in the middle school and the grade school that aren't eating. And when you have a kid that comes to school that doesn't eat, that doesn't have the attention of, I'm hungry, so they're, and I can't remember, they've got some acronym for what they're calling it at the high school, but, they've got it, Jim had some pictures, and it's unbelievable. They've got stuff up there that, these kids can come in and get food, more for the weekend than it is,
Yeah.
because they provide it,
During the week.
breakfast. You get breakfast in the morning, and they have their lunch, but it's, I would highly recommend that if there's people out there that are, and I know everybody's being bombarded between churches and whatever to donate, but my God, kids that are coming to school that haven't eaten, it's sad.
Yeah, that is.
So,
Hopefully
anyway,
that lunch program will continue, the morning one and the free, free
I think
breakfast
that
and...
he did say the one through the summer would be going again.
Okay, 'cause we hadn't heard yet whether that...
I thought that's what he said,
Good, I'm glad
I
you
hope.
did that.
so. Anyway, that's, kind of a kick in the butt for when you go to a meeting like that, you don't expect to hear stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I guess we do with it what we do, so. We still have some time. Anybody wanna juggle, or?
I do have,
Oh, all right. You got 10-minute filler?
no, not that far. Back to the public health part and the sanitarian. The 28 agreement that we did decide or approve back on the 28th of March, I have here that needs to be signed, and then I can forward on to
The new,
Jill, I believe it is.
all right.
And I'll just pass it around for you to sign the bottom one.
Are we, when you get your first month of tracking, will you keep us in the loop as opposed, and I don't think we're gonna have to argue with anybody, I just think that it's
I don't think,
something that we can request. We aren't asking for an hour or a minute by
I
minute
mean,
day.
everybody else gives us nice reports.
Right.
We look at our veteran affairs report,
Mhm.
Yep,
what more could you ask for?
yeah.
Randy Corclow's report. We're paying these guys to do this, we want information so we know what's being
Yeah.
done, rather than
And Dave did a good thing, he gave him an example of Randy's report.
Yeah.
Just, I went here
I mean,
on this date for
we
this
can't answer
reason.
questions that come in here when they say, well, are they working on this, or what are they
Did
doing?
they check my, well,
Yeah.
it said he was in Humboldt County.
That he checked a well, but we don't know if it was your well.
Fairly broad, so I guess, I don't think we're asking.
No.
No.
No, thanks, Dave, you gave him a good example.
You want me to go, visit with that lady over there? And go through the agreement again?
I don't think that would hurt, and you could
If you'd like to,
give her an example how you think it should look too.
okay, take your example along.
I think she's very agreeable to work with, too.
That'd be all right.
That would be a
Here,
plus.
here's his report this month, and it said, for the quarter, and it said, first quarter, he plugged 4 wells in Humboldt County, 3 in Pocahontas. Plugged 8 wells in Humboldt the second quarter, 4 in Pocahontas. And none the third quarter. I've never seen him plug that many wells.
Yeah.
That's far-fetched. So I think somebody needs to talk with her, so
There you go.
I can go do that, since it's on my board. I will go over and talk to her and see what's going on.
Randy would show him how to do a report that
I gave him Randy's.
Sometimes you get enough information, and sometimes you get too much information, but
That's where I
Randy's a good one.
Randy is
Oh,
good.
he is.
he's a reporter.
And then he'll send you the email that backs that up.
Alrighty, well.
We love him.
You bet, he does a great job. He does an awesome job.
But you know, that might not be a bad idea, because Randy might have a format already, why have him reinvent the format?
Well, it wouldn't take him much to
No.
put down there, if they
Just-
plugged 8 wells.
Well, just put down the address and the day he did it on.
Yeah.
Started early, Kim.
And he runs 6 wells.
Mr. Chairman,
It's closed.
do we have about a 2-minute recess?
We have to probably do about 6.
We can do a 6-minute.
Okay.
We have to do a, right on, that's what I was asking Trish, if the party is here,
Yep.
we can,
These guys are right spot on. The thing I reminded them, it was 9:30 and not 10:30.
all right.
Is that all right?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, do you want to sign his report?
I sure will.
Everybody see the report from Todd Lee?
Yes, I read through it. That having to have that 60% down, that's a huge ask, don't you think? I mean,
Mhm.
and all that's doing
You
is
need
keeping our
them,
smaller community, and that's why
I
they
got
got
this one, I put it in.
smaller communities out,
I didn't know if there's anything in there that's confidential.
which is
Dave, do
frustrating.
you want, didn't he usually take those quarterly from the VA? Is there anything on there?
Well, I
names?
didn't see any names.
He hasn't got no names on it, very good.
Yeah.
That's fine, I'll get rid of it.
Confidentiality, you gotta have names, and there's none on there
Alright.
for clients.
Yeah, clients and...
We're holding our own down there.
Well, I had a young person that I was visiting with about why they didn't help with the VA, or with the, 'cause you guys are always so hurting for, especially like funerals and whatnot, aren't you? And he says, well, he was never served in overseas.
Is he a veteran?
Mm-hmm.
Tell him come see me. We'll get him a uniform. Anybody that's a veteran that wants to go on the honor guard,
That's what I thought, but,
I'll put him on it. 'Cause we're definitely needing.
well, that, I'd heard through the grapevine that you guys were having issues with trying to fill your,
We were averaging 8. We was getting 12 to 14 guys, and we're down. But they're all older guys.
I was gonna say,
Like every church, everyone's getting older.
I'm just in the middle of it. Some of them guys are pushing 90.
Yeah.
The youngest one's 50, and she's 53. So, we're all getting older on there. Some of them
It's
can't
like
walk
they had our
very good.
first cleaning day for, the kitchen, and I was the youngest.
Well, that should've made you feel pretty good.
well,
You just can't.
are we able to start early, Rick?
Well,
I mean, these,
I think we can, because it doesn't involve the public at all.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But
We
the
don't-
problem is, we don't have our other parties involved, because
I
they're supposed to
think-
come at 8, they're supposed to come at 9.
They indicated that yes, they would, and that would be Cory and Dean.
That's
Oh, okay.
that's my thought, so. And
Right.
we probably need to wait till 9:30, so they're all here.
Okay.
Dean Foley's not there yet? Either one of them?
Now, Cory looks like he's here.
Well, let's see if he,
And Dean.
oh, here we have it. Okay?
There we are.
Motion?
We'll wait for the,
Oh, wait for them.
yeah. 'Cause once we get into that, we gotta shut the door and...
Get your note,
This is,
for your paper.
Memorial Day, we will not have the program down in the park for the veterans.
A Bickmore?
You will not, we won't have that. We're gonna do like we did last year, have the radio station read off all the names, and, have a little speech there probably, and go down to cemeteries.
You just go to the one cemetery? How many?
We'll go to, start at the bridge, and then we'll go to Bicknell. We'll go up to, Union, down to Cornet, Indian Mound, St. Mary's, and if they request it, we go out to, out on Lower Blacktop.
oh, wow.
What about
Back
flags?
to the courthouse. We'll put them up.
Are you gonna have,
Before.
are we gonna do it the week before?
Yeah.
If anybody wants a good morning of exercise, 'cause it's like mice going out across the...
It's a lot better now we got the football team helping. Well, hopefully they'll be there again.
Will you please check into that?
Putting flags out at the
Oh,
cemetery.
put the flags
You walk up and
in the cemetery.
down looking for the markers that, you know, and some of them markers, like you go out to Union, I just walked up and down seeing some of the dates on there that, you know, there's some dates out there that almost scare you, that how early those kids, 'cause they were 15, 17-year-old kids, that, and half the stones are so bad you can't read the names on them.
You must be
They
looking
got the Army, or
at least
whatever.
after World War One.
The RAFs, you can't hardly read any of them.
Mhm.
But up in the old part of the cemetery, it's some really old stuff, so.
Cory, is Dean on his way?
Yep, he's right around the corner here.
Okay.
Freedom fighters or something
What
like
years
that.
would that have been?
18...
Yeah, before the 1900s.
You find any Civil War?
Wow.
You know, I really wish that there's a way we could clean some of them stones up, 'cause some of them have, they're
That black
like a
stone.
white, they're a white stone, and they have like moss, and just over the years, probably no family taking care of the...
That might be a good silver cord project for the
There
kids.
was one a couple of years ago, cleaned a bunch of them out
Did they?
there.
Okay.
You gotta use a certain chemical to clean
certain
them
stuff
up.
to clean them up.
Well, I could
Okay.
use it over.
We get the...
Well, I think we should go I'm out of recess and reconvene.
Yep.
You what?
Out of recess and reconvene.
Well, all right, we're reconvening here.
I should be around all day.
All right, Kent, thank you.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant of code 21.5 to discuss strategy with counsel on matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent and where its disclosure would be likely to be prejudiced or disadvantage the position of the governmental body in that litigation.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
You gotta do a roll call. Roll call.
You wanna do the roll call, Sandy?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye,
Eric?
Aye.
do we need the mics on?
Rick?
Aye.
As soon as we do-
As soon as we go into, until we go into closed
Bruce
session.
is aye? All in favor, aye? I guess we're good.
Yep.